To me, life is about accepting more responsibility. Honestly, whenever you become responsible for your actions and the things that you do in your day to day life, it transforms your attitude. Because if you're accepting responsibility for who you are or what you do, then you see how you can change. But whenever we place blame on others, and we blame the world, blame anything else but ourselves for how our life is, it puts the focus outside of oneself. When in reality, the focus should be on yourself and how you can make your life better.
Really, the question is, how can I make right now better? What can I do?
Really focusing on what makes you happy. But honestly, you can't chase after happiness, because it's not a state to be achieved. I mean, everyone has moments of happiness and sadness, joy and sorrow. And so, it's helping other people through that. Because honestly, that's all we have in life, is the unity of people that are around us. And whenever you realize that the people around you are just like you, it helps open up your mind. It helps open up different avenues of exploration through friendship, through fellowship. And to me, that's what life is about. Learning about the world, learning about people, understanding that you don't have all the answers. And if you realize that, then you realize your own ignorance. And to be ignorant means to refuse to take notice of, to refuse to acknowledge. And everything that you resist in life, it persists in life. So the idea is to not resist your life. To be a Hooper-Nick-IO. To overcome, to be a conqueror of yourself, really. Overcome that negative nature. By focusing on the things that you value and the things that make you happy. Because it all starts by what you value. Truth, honesty, loyalty. But there's a lot of stuff in the world that's trying to get your attention, trying to get your sense of value, and to change it. Through rhetoric, through persuasion, through the influence of words. Because honestly, language can be confusing. If you don't understand the intent behind the person speaking. Then that really changes the dynamic. Of how you see them. And so, Everything starts with a word, and we learn to speak through learning grammar. It's the rules of language. Grammar is a set of rules for how natural language is structured. It's demonstrated by its writers or speakers. A word is a basic element of language that carries meaning and can be used on its own, uninterrupted. Linguistics is the scientific study of language. It's not just about learning different languages, but about understanding the universal properties and structures that make human language possible. Linguistics analyze how language is structured, how it changes over time, how it's used in different societies, and how it's produced in the human brain. Here are some core areas of study. The field of linguistics is broken down into several subdisciplines, like a lot of things in life, that each focuses on a different aspect of language. Think of them as different layers of an onion, like your mind. Peel back the different layers of onion. Phonetics. This is the study of the physical sounds of speech. It looks at how sounds are produced by the vocal organs, their acoustic properties, and how they are perceived by the listener. Phonology. This branch studies the sound systems of a specific language, focusing on how sounds are organized and patterned to create meaning. For example, it explains why the P sound in pin is different from the P sound in spin. Pin, spin, pin, spin, pin, spin, with an extra puff of air. Morphology. This is the study of word structure. It examines how words are formed from smaller, meaningful units called morphemes, such as prefixes, suffixes, and root words. Syntax. This is the study of sentence structure. It focuses on the rules that govern how words are combined to form phrases, clauses, and sentences. Semantics. This is the study of meaning in language. It explores the meaning of words, phrases, and sentences in a logical way, without considering context. Pragmatics. This area studies how language is used in context to convey meaning. It goes beyond the literal meaning of words to understand things like sarcasm, implication, and social conventions. The interdisciplinary fields of linguistics. Linguistics is a broad field that intersects with many other disciplines, creating fascinating subfields. Sociolinguistics studies the relationship between language and society, exploring how factors like social class, gender, and geography influence language use and variation. Psycholinguistics explores the psychological aspects of language, including how humans acquire, produce, and comprehend language. Historical linguistics investigates how languages change over time and how they are related to one another. It's used to reconstruct ancient languages and trace the origins of modern languages. Computational linguistics uses computer science to process and understand human language. This field is essential for technologies like voice assistants, machine translations, and autocorrect. Phonetics. Phonetics is the study of the physical sounds of human speech. It's the most basic level of linguistic analysis, dealing with the sounds themselves, called phones. Regardless of the language, it answers questions like, how are sounds produced by the vocal organs? Articulatory phonetics. I want to write that down. How are sounds produced by the vocal organs? That's called articulatory phonetics. Articulatory phonetics. Oh. And then, what are the physical properties of a sound wave? Physical properties of a sound wave. That is acoustic phonetics. Acoustic phonetics. Phonetics. Acoustic phonetics. Well, and then we have, how do people perceive sounds with our ears and brain? Auditory phonetics. That's called auditory phonetics. Auditory phonetics. Auditory phonetics. Okay. Sorry, I wanted to look that up. The big questions that I just wrote down. But phonology is the study of a language sound system. It focuses on how sounds are organized and used to distinguish meaning. The key concept here is phoneme, the smallest unit of a sound that can change the meaning of a word. For example, in English, the sound P and B, P and B, are distinct phonemes because they differentiate words like pat and bat. Pat, bat, p, b, pat, bat, p, b, pat, bat. Pat, bat. Morphology is the study of word structure. It breaks words down into their smallest meaningful units called morphemes. It explains how prefixes un, suffixes ing, and root words running, run, combine to create new words and meanings, such as run and ing, root, suffix, running. I don't think the prefix un would work with the root word run and the suffix ing. What would be unrunning? Is that even a word? Unrunning? means to not run. Unrunning. Whenever hilarious, I googled unrunning, and it's we are unrunning. What is unrunning? Unrunning, life is complicated. Running is not. We overthink and overtrain, and it's time to get back to the basics. That's from unrunning.com. I don't know what this is. Unrunning. Life is complicated, running is not. We overthink and overtrain, and it's time to get back to the basics. Just the brain and the body. Running, undone. We are unrunning. It's powered by Squarespace. This is interesting. Okay, back to the thing. Sorry, I got distracted. Syntax is the study of sentence structure. It's concerned with the rules that govern how words and phrases are arranged to form grammatically correct sentences. This is where we learn about the relationships between a subject, a verb, and an object, and how we can combine them in different ways. Semantics is a study of meaning in language. It explores the literal meaning of words, phrases, and sentences. It deals with concepts like synonym, words with the same meaning, and antonyms, words with opposite meanings, and how meaning is built compositionally from a word's parts. Pragmatics is the study of language in use and in context. It goes beyond the literal meaning of words to understand the speaker's intent and how context influences meaning. It's how we understand that "can you pass the salt?" is not a question about ability, but a request. Phonetics and phonology. The sound level. Phonetics is the raw material, the actual sounds we make with our mouths. It's the physical stuff of language. It describes the precise sounds in words like dog and cat. Phonology is the rulebook for those sounds. It tells us which sounds are meaningful in a given language and how they can be combined. It's why we know that cat and bat are different words, but pronouncing cat with a little extra puff of air on the C, cat, 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 doesn't change its meaning. Phonology organizes the raw phonetic sounds into a system that has meaning. Phonology, phonology, phonology. I'm going to look that up. Phonology. Phonology. Bless me. Bless you. Morphology and syntax, the structure level. Morphology takes the meaning of sounds, phonemes, and combines them into the smallest unit sub-meaning, morphemes. It's the study of how words are built. It's how we understand the word cats is not just a sequence of sounds, but a combination of two morphemes, cat, the animal, and s, the plural maker. Cats, as in multiple. Syntax takes those fully formed words and arranges them into grammatically correct sentences. It's the blueprint for building phrases and sentences. It's why the cats are sleeping is a valid sentence, but sleeping the cats are is not. Syntax gives order to the words. Semantics and pragmatics, the meaning level. Semantics focuses on the literal meaning of the words and sentences that syntax has structure. It answers the question, what does this sentence mean on its own? For example, the semantic meaning of "the cat is on the mat" is simply that a feline is located on the floor covering. Pragmatics goes beyond the literal meaning to understand the intended meaning based on context. It's the most high-level analysis. It answers the question, what is the speaker trying to do with this sentence? For example, if you say, the cat is on the mat, to someone who's looking for the cat, it's a statement. But if you say it to someone who has a fear of cats, it might be a warning. Pragmatics takes into account the speaker, the listener, and the situation to interpret the complete message. In essence, you can't have a sentence without a structure, syntax. You can't have a structure without words, morphology. And you can't have words without a sound system, phonology. And you can't have a sound system without the raw sounds themselves, phonetics. And all of it is useless unless you can understand both the literal semantics and the contextual pragmatics meaning. They are all interconnected and necessary to fully understand how language works. So I wanted to find out about articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and auditory phonetics are the three branches of phonetics that describe the complete journey of a sound from speaker to listener. How sounds are produced. Articulatory phonetics. Sounds are produced by a stream of air from the lungs that is modified as it travels through the vocal tract. The process begins in the lungs, where air is pushed out. This airflow is then shaped by a series of articulators. Larynx, the voice box. The airflow passes through the vocal folds or cords. If they vibrate, the sound is voiced, like the B in bat. If they don't, it's voiceless, like the P in pat. Bat, pat, bat, pat. Different levels of mouth, or vibrations of energy. Mouth and nose. The stream of air then enters the oral or nasal cavities. The tongue, lips, and teeth are the primary articulators that modify the air. The position of these organs determines the place of articulation. Sounds made with both lips are bilabial, 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 like M, B, M, B, and P. M, B, and P. Manner of articulation. The way the articulators restrict the airflow determines the manner of articulation. For example, a complete blockage of air creates a stop sound like T or D, while a narrow channel that creates turbulence results in a fractive, freactive, like S, or F, like S, or F, freactive. Physical properties of sound waves. Physical properties of sound waves. Acoustic phonetics. When the vocal tract creates speech sounds, it generates pressure changes in the air, which travel as sound waves. Acoustic phonetics measures the physical properties of these waves. The main properties are frequency. This is the number of sound wave vibrations per second, measured in hertz, Hz. It's directly related to the pitch we perceive. A higher frequency corresponds to a higher pitch. Amplitude. This is the magnitude of the pressure changes in the wave. This is the magnitude of the pressure changes in the wave. It's related to the loudness or intensity of the sound. A larger amplitude corresponds to a louder sound. Duration. This is the length of time a sound lasts. A waveform. A visual representation of a sound wave that plots amplitude over time. We have longitudinal waves and then transverse waves. It's licensed by Google, the picture that I'm looking at. How we perceive sound. Auditory phonetics. Auditory phonetics describes how the ear and brain process and interpret sound waves. The process unfolds in a series of steps. Outer ear. The outer ear funnels sound waves into the ear canal, where they hit the eardrum. Middle ear. The sound waves causes the eardrum to vibrate. These vibrations are amplified by 3 tiny bones, the ossicles, and transmitted to the inner ear. The inner ear. The vibrations enter a fluid-filled, snail-shaped organ called the cochlear. Inside the cochlear, tiny hair cells convert the mechanical vibrations into electrical nerve signals. Brain. The brain signals are sent to the electrical signals are sent to the brain via the auditory nerve. The brain then decodes these signals, allowing us to recognize and understand what we hear. Honestly, I really love that. That stuff is really, really cool. The cochlear. The cochlear. That's special. Where is it? Cochlear. Cochlear. The cochlear is a spiral-shaped hollow organ in the inner ear that plays a vital role in hearing. Its name comes from the Latin word for snail shell, which perfectly describes its coiled appearance. How it works. The cochlear's main job is to convert sound vibrations into electrical nerve signals that the brain can interpret. This process is called auditory transduction, and it happens in a few key steps. Vibration transfers. When sound waves enter the ear, they cause the eardrum and tiny bones in the middle ear to vibrate. These vibrations are then passed to the fluid inside the cochlear. Hair cell stimulation. The vibrations in the fluid cause the basal membrane within the cochlear to move. This movement stimulates thousands of tiny sensory hair cells that line the membrane. Signal conversions. The hair cells convert the mechanical vibrations into electrical nerve impulses. Different parts of the basal membrane respond to different frequencies, allowing the cochlear to create a map of sound frequencies that it sends to the brain. Signal transmissions. These electrical impulses are then carried by the auditory nerve to the brain's auditory cortex, where they are interpreted as sound. The cochlear is a crucial component of the auditory system, and damage to its delicate hair cells can result in a type of hearing loss called sensorineural hearing loss. Interesting.